Jake had always considered himself a devoted husband. For 8 years, he and Emily built a life together, one filled with love, laughter, and the occasional struggles that came with marriage. He never imagined she would betray him, but lately something felt off. Emily had become distant. Her laughter, once warm and genuine, felt hollow. She started working late more often, constantly checking her phone with a guarded expression. When Jake asked what was wrong, she brushed it off. "Just stressed with work," she'd say, forcing a tired smile. At first, he believed her. But small things didn't add up. The way she suddenly became possessive of her phone, the new lingerie he never saw her wear, the mysterious girls' nights where she'd come home smelling like expensive cologne. His gut told him something was wrong, but he didn't want to be the paranoid husband who accused his wife without proof. That proof came when he least expected it. One evening, Emily was in the shower, and her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Jake wouldn't have checked it. He wasn't the snooping type, but the message preview froze him in place. Asterisk, "I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" Asterisk. His heart pounded as he stared at the screen. The sender's name was saved as just an initial, asterisk T. Asterisk, he felt sick. His hands shook as he unlocked the phone, his worst fears coming to life with every scroll. The messages were explicit, intimate, filled with details of secret meetings, hotels, and whispered promises of love. Jake felt like the air had been knocked out of him. His knees nearly buckled as he sat on the bed, reading text after text. Emily had been cheating, and not just a one-time mistake. This had been going on for months. When she stepped out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her, she froze. Jake was standing in the middle of the bedroom, her phone in his hand, his face pale with fury and heartbreak. "What the hell is this?" His voice was low, controlled, but the pain in his eyes was unmistakable. Emily's face drained of color. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her eyes darting to the phone. She didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she sighed and ran a hand through her damp hair. "Jake, don't." His voice broke. "Just tell me the truth." She hesitated, then sat down on the edge of the bed, avoiding his gaze. "It just happened," she muttered. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Jake let out a hollow laugh. "You didn't mean to hurt me? Emily, you've been lying to me for months." She looked up, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I was lonely, Jake. You've been so busy with work. I felt like we were just going through the motions." He stared at her, unable to believe what he was hearing. "So, your solution was to sleep with someone else?" Tears rolled down her cheeks, but Jake couldn't bring himself to comfort her. He was too shattered. The woman he loved, the person he trusted most, had betrayed him in the worst way possible. "I need you to leave," he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. Emily's eyes widened. "Jake, please. We can fix this." "It was a mistake."
"No."
"A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something hurtful in an argument. This was a choice. Over and over again." She sobbed into her hands, but Jake felt nothing but a hollow ache in his chest. He turned away, unable to look at her anymore. "I'll stay at a hotel tonight," she whispered. "But please don't make any decisions yet." Jake didn't respond. He just stood there, staring at the floor, as the woman he had loved for 8 years packed a bag and walked out the door. The silence in the house was deafening. Jake sat on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the floor. Emily was gone, but her presence lingered in every corner of their home. The faint scent of her shampoo, the framed wedding photo on the dresser, every detail felt like a cruel reminder of the life he thought he had. He barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, the words from her messages echoed in his mind. Asterisk, "I can't stop thinking about last night." Asterisk, the pain was unbearable, like a knife twisting in his chest. He had loved Emily with everything he had, and she had thrown it all away for some cheap thrill. By morning, Jake knew he had to tell someone. He couldn't keep this inside, it was eating him alive. He picked up his phone and called his older sister, Laura. She answered on the second ring. "Jake, you okay?" His voice wavered. She cheated on me, Laura. There was silence on the other end, followed by a sharp inhale. Oh my God. When? How did you find out? Jake swallowed the lump in his throat and told her everything. By the time he finished, his hands were clenched into fists. I told her to leave. I don't think I can ever forgive her. Laura didn't hesitate. Good. You shouldn't. She destroyed your trust. You deserve better. Her words were like a lifeline, reassuring him that he wasn't crazy for wanting to walk away. But not everyone saw it that way. Later that day, his phone started buzzing with messages, first from Emily, then from her family. Emily ***, Jake, please. We need to talk. I love you. Don't throw away what we have. ***. Emily's mother ***, marriage isn't perfect, Jake. Everyone makes mistakes. You need to give her a chance to make it right. ***. Emily's sister ***, you're really going to end everything over one mistake? That's not love. That's pride. ***. Jake couldn't believe what he was reading. One mistake? It wasn't just one mistake. It was months of lies, deception, and betrayal. But the pressure didn't stop there. His own parents called him that evening. His mother's voice was gentle but firm. Jake, I know you're hurting, sweetheart. But don't make a rash decision. Marriage is about forgiveness. His father chimed in. She regrets it. She's begging for another chance. Maybe you should hear her out. Jake gritted his teeth. So, I'm just supposed to pretend this never happened? Let her walk all over me? That's not what we're saying, his mom sighed. We're just saying sometimes love is worth fighting for. Jake let out a bitter laugh. She didn't fight for me when she was sneaking around with him. His mother fell silent. His father cleared his throat. At least talk to her. Get everything out in the open. Then decide. Jake ended the call feeling more conflicted than ever. He had been so sure that leaving was the right decision. But now, everyone was making him feel like he was the villain for not forgiving her. Later that night, as he sat alone in their empty living room, his phone buzzed again. This time, it was a number he didn't recognize. A single message appeared. You don't know the whole story. Call me. Jake's stomach clenched. Who the hell was this? And what story was there left to tell? Jake stared at the message, his pulse quickening. ***, you don't know the whole story. Call me. ***. His fingers hovered over the screen. Was this a trick? A mistake? Or was there more to Emily's betrayal than he had realized? After a moment of hesitation, he took a deep breath and dialed the number. It rang twice before a deep voice answered. Jake. His grip on the phone tightened. Who is this? A pause. Then, it's Tyler. Jake's stomach dropped. Tyler. The man from Emily's messages. The man she had been sleeping with. His body tensed with rage. You've got some nerve calling me. I know, Tyler said quickly. And I wouldn't have, but you deserve to know the truth. Jake clenched his jaw. I already know the truth. You slept with my wife. Yeah, Tyler admitted, his voice laced with guilt. And I won't try to justify that. But there's more you don't know. Jake exhaled sharply, trying to keep himself from smashing his phone against the wall. Then start talking. Tyler hesitated before continuing. Emily told me you two were separated. That your marriage was already over. Jake felt like he had been punched in the gut. What? She made it seem like you were just staying together for convenience. She told me you didn't love her anymore, that you didn't care what she did. Jake's breath hitched. That's bullshit. I loved her. I trusted her. I believe you, Tyler said. And when I found out the truth, that she was lying to both of us, I ended things. That was weeks ago. Jake's head spun. Weeks ago? That meant Emily had been lying this whole time, even after getting caught. Pretending to be remorseful, begging for another chance. All while knowing she had fabricated an entire story to justify her affair. I didn't call to ask for forgiveness, Tyler added. I just thought you deserved to know. Whatever she's telling you now, it's probably still a lie. Jake was speechless. He wanted to scream, punch something, do something, but all he could do was sit there, numb. Tyler sighed. I'm sorry, man. For everything. Jake didn't reply. He just hung up and stared at the wall, his mind racing. Emily hadn't just cheated. She had rewritten their entire marriage to make herself feel better about it. She had tried to manipulate him into believing it was his fault. And now, their families were doing the same, pressuring him to stay, to forgive her, when she hadn't even told the full truth. The weight of it all crashed down on him. He was done. When his phone buzzed again, another message from Emily, no doubt. He didn't even look at it. Instead, he walked to his desk, opened his laptop, and started drafting the divorce papers. Jake sat in the dimly lit room, the weight of recent revelations pressing heavily on his shoulders. The divorce papers lay on the table before him, a tangible testament to the end of an era. Yet, as he prepared to sever the ties of his marriage, the echoes of his family's pleas for reconciliation reverberated in his mind. His mother's voice, gentle yet insistent, urged forgiveness. Marriage is about weathering storms together, Jake. Everyone makes mistakes. His father's pragmatic tone added, think about the life you've built. Is it worth throwing away over this? Even Emily's family reached out, their messages dripping with a mix of guilt and persuasion. She regrets her actions deeply. Can't you find it in your heart to give her another chance? But Jake couldn't shake the gnawing feeling that these appeals were more about preserving appearances than addressing the profound betrayal he felt. He recalled stories he'd come across online, tales of individuals who had faced similar crossroads. One narrative stood out, a man who discovered his wife's infidelity and grappled with the societal and familial pressures to reconcile. Despite the external insistence, he chose to prioritize his own well-being, ultimately finding peace in his decision to part ways. Drawing strength from such accounts, Jake reflected on his own desires. He yearned for authenticity, for a life untainted by deceit. The path of reconciliation, though noble in the eyes of many, felt like a compromise of his own integrity. With a resolute sigh, he picked up the pen and signed the divorce papers. This act wasn't just an end, but a bold declaration of self-respect. Jake understood that while forgiveness is a virtue, it should never come at the cost of one's own peace and dignity.